Hi, this is Deborah. Today's topic, I'm going to discuss with you what narcissistic supply is. When I first heard that term narcissistic supply, I was like, supply? What is that? It was a strange term to be coined, and many narcissistic survivors they use that term, and also medical professionals they use that term narcissistic supply. What that is it seems like it depersonalizes it a little bit so that you can kind of look at it from a standpoint, a vantage point where you can analyze it. What it is there are two types of major supply for a narcissist, and that's the primary supply and secondary supply. Primary supply are those type of individuals or people who are in a direct relationship with the narcissist. Normally, that could be like a girlfriend, a boyfriend. That could be a husband or a wife. It could be a parent, especially if the person is like a child. That could be the primary person that they interact with. It's really just the primary person that they interact with on a day-to-day basis in order to get the attention that they feel that they need or they require in order for them to get an ego boost. Most narcissists, they have a grandiose sense of self-worth, who they are. It's covered in a false sense of confidence and security. The excuse me, guys. Narcissists, they thrive off of putting themselves on a pedestal, and in order for them to feel better about themselves, they need someone else to continue to always feed them, compliments, feed their ego, cater to them, pretty much make them like your whole world would, and they interact with you in such a way that that's what ends up happening. They work themselves into your life, and they begin to train you, if you ask. Train you basically to pretty much like cater to them, to give them either positive or negative attention. How does that happen? Let's kind of get into that. When a narcissist first meets someone, and we're just speaking on just relationships like that, what they do is they want, they love bomb you. You can almost do no wrong. They make you feel like you're special, that you're the best thing since sliced bread, And one of the things that they tend to do is they never take ownership of any type of fallout that they've had in any type of relationship. It's never really their fault. It's always the other person's fault. It's always your fault, but it's never their fault. They will, that's where the relationship gets toxic. But in the beginning, you go through this phase where there a period of time where they just love you to death, and they give you a sense of attention that you may not have ever had. They could possibly call you every day, reach out to you every day. They will make you feel like you're on top of the world, and that's to draw you into them. And they do a lot of different techniques in order to do this. They spend a lot of time listening to you. They don't just listen to you just to get to know you and get into you. They're listening to you so that they can, build their arsenal of information, so that they later on they can pull it out and use it against you and stuff in the future. You may be thinking that you're opening up so that you can become really close to this individual, so that, and they're really opening up to you. But a lot, if you sit back, a lot of times you'll notice that you're the one spending all the time talking. You're the one that are pretty much dumping on them, and you feel close to them, and anyone will feel close to anyone that they're opening up to, becoming vulnerable. But what it is with these type of individuals, they will lie to you. They'll say, "Oh yeah, I've been through that, and they're mirroring you. They're mirroring you so that you will feel a sense of familiarity with them, and a sense of closeness. They're not necessarily telling you their ultimate weaknesses, but they are trying to find out about what yours are. And they're trying to find out, excuse me, my eyes are a little watery. They're trying to find out what, your personal weaknesses, so that later on they'll be able to use those weaknesses against you in order for them to get what they want out of you. So during that first phase of getting to know you, they have, you feel like you're so special, you're so loved, and you're so appreciated. But once you get to know them, there's a time in a relationship where after you are very familiar with the person, life is just normal. Well, in a day with a narcissism, nothing's really normal. You don't really know that. But when somebody is coming into your life, and all of a sudden they're trying to become a fixture really fast, and all of a sudden they have this love for you and this affinity for you, that's a red flag. A lot of narcissists, they do that, especially if the current supply is not going so well. They want to quickly replace that, or make you their backup supply, which is secondary supply where they're not really being verbally or emotionally abusive to you. But primary supply, once you come into their vortex and you become attached to them, they begin to devalue you, pick out little bitty things that, say for instance, at first they told you that you're so nice, and you're this and you're that. But then after a while, once they draw you in and you're close to them, all of a sudden, that thing that they said they used to like, they don't like it so much anymore. They start picking at it and stuff. You may say that you're the perfect size, and you might be a little bit overweight at first, and you let them know that you're a little self-conscious about that. And then maybe, when you're out and about or whatnot, they may make some little slight dig at you when it comes to the way you look, or what your weight is, or just any old thing, how you interact with each other, as far as like what they used to find wonderful about you, they may not no longer find so wonderful. They'll communicate that, and then you're trying to get back that attention, that and that love and admiration they used to have for you, and so you're trying to appease them. That's they're training you to trauma bond with them at that point, because they may at that point they are devaluing you. They may be calling you names here and there, and then you want to make things right, and so you will spend time trying to appease them, or to satiate them. This is when during that devaluation stage, because when you're dealing with a narcissist, they have a cycle that they go through with any and everybody, and when they start that, you probably have had conversations with them initially when you were first getting to know about all the horrible people that the things that other people did to them. And so what they want you to know those things, because when you get in a relationship with them, they want to train you that this is not necessarily something that they want to endure with you. It could be that they want to continue, those are, they're setting up their boundaries for you based on, it could be a lie. The other person could have been a wonderful individual. They themselves probably cause that other individual emotional and maybe physical damage to that other individual, but they don't want you to know about that. So when they begin to start devaluing you, And if you retaliate in any form, way, or fashion, then they'll start thinking about replacing you with somebody else. Most narcissists are not the most faithful people in the world. They always have to feel like they have somebody around that is boosting their ego. So a lot of narcissists, they're not the most faithful people in the world. There's a lot of infidelity that occurs when you're dealing with a narcissist. That's because they have this overwhelming, need to be given attention, and a normal person in a normal relationship, when they go through things, they don't just leave, they don't just uh, up and leave, and they address an issue by going out there in the streets and trying to find somebody else to put in your place immediately, and then at the same time trying to have you and have them, which that'll get into what I call like triangulation, entering in a third person into the relationship in order to try to control the other person. And then what you'll end up finding yourself doing is fighting with them about the fact that they're, especially if you found out that they are, entertaining communication or or a relationship with someone else, and a lot of this is done on purpose to make you jealous, to elicit those types of negative responses. They feed off of that, and they want you to hurt. They want you to be incensed by it. They feed off of that, good or bad. It's a sickening type of existence that happens with these type of people, but it can be very damaging to your person and who you are, because one of the things that happens, it causes cognitive dissonance. You can't understand this person that you used to know, who used to worship and love you. All of a sudden, you feel like they hate your guts, and so they're devaluating you. And what they do is, at that point, many times, especially if they see that there's no change in you, as far as like trying to get back to complimenting them. It's very hard to compliment or to be loving to an individual who's mistreating you. They could be also probably physically abusive to you or blowing up, and you don't understand, how they go from 0 to 100 like so fast. But at that point, they're getting ready to discard you when they're trying to be with somebody else. They're discarding you almost like garbage, throwing you out and stuff. And so they begin to entertain another supply person, who they are probably telling this person how bad you are, how horrible you are, how much you have put them through, and you may not necessarily have been doing just that. It's just that that's who they are, their behavior. They are, a lot of that behavior is when they first start getting to know you, and they're feeding you all these compliments and stuff like that. You don't realize that that if you're not careful, when they start devaluating you, and you are wanting them to change their mind about how they feel, or it's a misunderstanding or whatnot, what ends up happening is you're training yourself for validation. They have trained you to let them validate you. So in other words, give you relief. So, and you're like, oh, and then if they come back and say, no, I was wrong or whatnot, part of you, because you care about them, it gives you a sense of relief that, okay, it was just a misunderstanding, blah, blah, blah. You guys are all good. But what that is you are trained for their validation. And that's a very, very dangerous place for any individual in their personal self-esteem to be. When you start needing or requiring the validation of another individual to be whole or to be complete or to feel good about being in a relationship with them, that means at that point you've given away a lot of power. You know, you don't need anyone else to validate, you know, when you start, when you see that happening to you, realize that that person has built a trauma bond with you. You and them are in this sick state where you need their validation in order to feel good about the position that you have in a relationship, and you no longer are, whole by yourself. It requires the approval of this narcissist, to feel that you are a good person to be with them, or in general. And remember that whenever your significant other introduces or goes out of the relationship for love and support from another individual, they're cheating on you. Instead of reacting, you need to respond. That's a boundary that they have crossed. And you have to have it set up in your mind that when somebody is abusing you, cheating on you, mentally, emotionally, or, creating an environment where you feel that they want to create insecurity in a relationship with you, then if they do not stop, you need to leave. Because that's an abuse. That's emotional abuse. And if you stay in something like that, you're going to end up in a very, very bad place emotionally. And because narcissists, it's very difficult to be in a relationship with a narcissist and not be impacted emotionally by that in a negative way. It's a very, very toxic relationship. Secondary source of supply is the other supply. It's like friends, family. They become what they call flying monkeys. Yes, flying monkeys. That's another term. Most secondary source don't even know that the person is a very toxic individual. They never get as close as the primary source in some degree, unless they're promoted to be the primary source. Usually they, like say for instance, if they have gone out there on the streets and started seeing somebody else, that person only knows the bad part about who you are as a person, not necessarily the truth, but how bad you are and how awful you are. And in order for them to draw this new source in, as like the new source is saving the day, but if they promoted that person to where your position is, which is the primary source, then that person would no doubt start experiencing that cycle where they love bomb them. They think that they're like the salt of the earth. They will put them in the devaluation stage at some point where they started nitpicking that, nitpicking, devaluing them. And hopefully, Lord forbid, they're not one of those type of narcissists that's physically abusive. That could go wrong really bad, real fast. And then they'll discard them for somebody new. That's just the cycle. And then even when they discard them, they still hoover them. They'll hoover them and still keep them in their life, but at a distance. And so that they'll reach out to them periodically so that they can get supply to draw them back in and take them through the whole cycle again. But narcissists, they foster and nurture this toxic type of interaction between the people that are in their lives and the people who the people that are in their lives. And if you're lucky to go no contact, to get them out of your life so that you can heal, that's probably the best thing for you. The sad part is if you have kids with them, you have to still interact with them. In the future, I'll create videos and to discuss how, if you have kids with them, how you can interact without being so impacted. They're very tricky individuals. They're very highly manipulative. Like I said, they're very charismatic, and many of them are smart, intelligent. But make no mistake, getting entangled with a narcissist can be a very, very, very dangerous situation for you emotionally, and it could take you it can take you a long time to heal from it. But you can heal, but being able to know what you've gone through is definitely part of the recovery. And understanding that when you run across somebody who is a narcissist, and when you first meet them and it seems like they're too good to be true, sit back and think, if somebody's over complimenting you and all of that, ask yourself, do you feel this way already about yourself? And why is this person feeling so desperate enough to try to shower you with this, and they really don't really know you? If they're not really opening up to you, and they're wanting you to open up to them, and they're mirroring you, trying to cater to you so that they can draw you in and create this very toxic attachment. Be aware. Be self-aware. That's what it takes. Like, comment, and subscribe. If you like this video, let me know. Let me know by liking it. Give me some comments below, questions, anything that you would like me to kind of discuss in the future. Would be I'm definitely open to that. I'm excited about this new forum and platform that I'm on. I hope that the information that I shared with you today will kind of help you understand how Narcissistic Supply is, what Narcissistic Supply is, how it's used by the narcissist, how it impacts you as a person, and what you might want to do in order for you to mitigate that, which is possibly going no contact and removing yourself from those circumstances. Anyway, I will talk to you later. Bye.